Hi, Carol.
Morning, Lee. Been a long time.
What does your mug say?
My mug says making magic happen.
Ooh,
Would
mine
you
says
like to see it again?
rise and shine.
Yeah, that's
Mm,
more or less the same thing. Because unless you're shining, you ain't going to make magic happen.
no, don't
Right.
know. I don't know if I feel very shiny this morning.
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Not too bad.
So, you were talking. We were just before this. You were trying to unblur, but we weren't able to make that happen. And you have
No,
the same drum in your background.
very syndrome. Yep.
So
In
what?
fact,
What?
give me 1 second. I have to. I have to bring it in, seeing as it's
Oh,
been. There it is.
love
The
it.
very syndrome. Yep. So there we are. Now we're back to blurred.
I'm gonna blur for solidarity reasons. Yeah,
Yeah.
oh no, that's me turn up. Here, well, this is what it's gonna be like. We haven't had a chat in a while, have we?
No, not for a long time.
No, but
Yeah.
what did you want to we wanted to do about authenticity, didn't we?
Yes, absolutely. Authenticity.
Authenticity, freedom, and a little bit of witchiness. Talking
And
about
that is due to the fact these are my books at the minute. Old
what
Wives. My,
ah
this is the one on the Pendle Witches. And this one was written by a woman who was burnt for heresy in the 1300s.
oh wow.
So I am well into researching this and reading it at the minute.
Love
And I'm
it.
coming at it from the point of view of injustice and the insanity of the minds that existed in the Middle Ages. But we'll talk about that later. But that's where my interest is at the minute.
Just the Middle Ages, Carol.
No, and what that led to, because
Yeah.
that's where it all started, and then sure it still exists today. But we'll talk about that briefly later on.
Well, if you show in your books, I want to show mine. So,
Go ahead.
well, oh, I can't see it because it's blurred. Brief history of misogyny. Nice little read there with
Well,
Jack.
it's the same topic.
Yeah.
The same topic.
Sylvia Federici. Oh, love the Federici. Caliban and the Witch. Women, the body, and primitive accumulation. That's another light
Yeah.
read. Bit of
Wow.
crack this Sunday morning. And Women Who Run with the Wolves. Have you
I've read that one. I've read that one.
and
Yes.
contacting the power of the wild women? So I
Yes.
think witches. Well, somebody recently called me a fair. Well, they said you're feral, Louise. You're feral, and I wrote a poem called "Feral Lady," and I just think
Right.
there's a lot in that. I think there's something in, like women who run with the wolves, connecting with that
Mhm.
kind of that authenticity involves, and I was saying about like consciously or unconsciously um not being socially and culturally conditioned.
Yes.
What do you think of that?
Well, socially and culturally conditioned leads to losing your authenticity. Absolutely. We need to reconnect with nature. We need to reconnect with our true nature that is connected with that. And we need to step back from what we have been trained to be and become our real, true selves. And in order to become that, you nearly need to take a lot of space on your own.
Oh,
That will not come out there in society. That is the trained, the culture of do what we say. And to get away from that, you must spend a lot of time on your own in nature. You need to just sit there and be with yourself. And when you do that for hours and hours, which I have done from a child, you become a totally different type of woman and a totally different person. So that would be my views on that. Get out of society and be on your own. Be still and listen to your inner voice. That's where your true nature lives.
Do you think most people are authentic, or do you think it's really rare to meet a fully authentic
It's
person?
very rare to find anyone who is fully authentic and in their alignment with their true self. And that alignment, not only do you need to connect to nature, you need to connect to your own soul, and you need to connect to your inner connection to the divine. And when I talk about that, yes, that's a connection to God, but it's not a connection to religion, because religion is part of the taking away of authenticity. We need to become our true selves. And well, that's basically how I see it.
Yeah, I think institutions remove that kind of authentic. But
Mm-hmm.
safety to be found in those groups and in those identities and in those places. People, there's safety in numbers, I suppose.
It takes courage to become your true self. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And the pathway to your true self is a painful one. Because on the pathway to your true self, you become the outsider. You become the danger to the norm,
The witch.
the witch. Yes.
Oh, yeah. I'd have been there was a Duncan River or a Duncan stream for people like me
Uh-huh.
down the
Yeah.
road. I would have definitely been in that. Like,
Well, I would have too. I mean, I speak my truth, which is so rare. You ask me something, you're going to get my honest opinion, not what I think you want to hear. Not the soft way out that means we're not going to disagree. You're going to get my truth. And if you disagree with it, then that's fine because that's your truth. Every one of us has a different approach to life, a different way of looking at life, and different needs. And we're all different people. And we've got to be allowed to be those different people and accept each other.
yeah.
The word witch, the word witch has been used so much to put down women. She's a witch. She's this, but the word witch is so negative. I wish we could find a new word for that empowers women to be their true selves,
But
which includes many, many, many of the characteristics that were put down under the word witch.
words are given value. They're not inherently, they don't inherently have value. They're given value in the way they're used. So a lot of what reclaiming those sexist or misogynistic slurs, you reclaim the words. So
Well, yeah, yeah,
you see that with you know LGBTQIA, and the queer, the word queer, still loaded.
yeah.
Still, a lot of people have trauma around it. But the word witch, like, if somebody called me a witch, I wouldn't give a shit.
Well, no, I wouldn't give a shit,
Aye.
but it's the history. The history of it is still affecting women to this day.
Yeah, the history. But basically they were just single women who
Well,
helped.
there were some men in it, but they were rare.
Were
And to
there?
be called a wizard was
Oh yeah.
be called a wizard is a good word these days. He's a wizard at that. The connotations around wizard are that's a good thing to be, which is not a good thing to be.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to make it a good thing to be, because to me, the very idea of what a witch was is the feral, true feminine, the freedom to be authentic.
The other thing about being authentic, I think, is the freedom to it's often the work I do, it's about the shadow. You know,
Yes, yes,
feeling,
absolutely.
so as I get older in my wisdom and really embrace like just doing whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
what I want. Like that authenticity means that I'm actually really boring too. And that it just allows me to
It's
indulge in my real boring obsessions and the things I'm really interested in. Like I understand people would find me dull and boring because what I'm really interested in, most people don't care about. And I could just think about it and talk about it for hours on end. That I think is about being authentic. And the other
That's
thing
being
is,
honest.
yeah, I'm
The
grumpy. I'm very
majority of
grumpy.
people. are not interested in anything but themselves
Yeah, like,
and making their life better through stuff.
oh no, and stuff like a lot of the stuff that a lot of people talk about, like
Hmm.
I couldn't give a damn.
No. They're full of desires. I want a bigger holiday. I want a bigger house. I want a bigger car. I want this. I want that. I want to dress in expensive clothes so that people will look at me. They want to get their significance from stuff.
It's
I
bigger, yeah.
give myself my significance because I do things that I love doing. I'm reading this book and I can't put it down. When I lift that book, I'm taken back to the 14th century. And I'm right in there with those women in that Lancaster castle in Pendle.
Oh,
And it's wow. And I'm living and I'm connected and I'm out there in nature. And I'm sitting, this is my healing Reiki room. When I walk in through this door, I'm in a it's different place. And out there doesn't exist. And in here, I am totally, totally me.
yeah.
And I'm totally, totally connected to everything, not excluded from it, connected to it in this room.
Yeah. So is it? Oh no, my cat's here. Oh.
Sorry, your cat's welcome.
I am
Oh, your
jumping.
cat's here.
Proper witch with the cat. Cat's just
Absolutely.
walking in. But what was I going to say? No, the thing about, oh God, here, do you see her? She's jumped up. Here she is.
Oh, yes.
Um,
Okay, so now that you're familiar with you, we can carry on.
yeah, no, no, she's all right. She just wants, she just thinks, she
Hello.
wants to be by,
This is
by
about
me all the time.
yeah.
She's lovely. But what was I going to say? The thing about, what was I going to say about witches? I can't even
Mm,
remember. I wanted to talk to you actually. Before this, we were talking a little bit about talking about. We're both brought up, or we're both from the Unionists, Loyalist Protestant tradition, and the
yeah.
sky. And we were talking a little bit about the bonfires
Yeah.
that are happening on the 11th. We wanted to talk
Yeah.
about that. Like we did our healing circle, and we're going to do another one for the Loch Ness, and we had a
Uh-huh.
little fire there, and it was really really lovely. But what are
Uh-huh.
your thoughts again of that, in the communities we were brought up in, and how we,
Well, my first experiences of bonfires on the 11th night was a group of kids. And we went round the estate and said, have you any old junk you want to put in the bonfire? And we collected old settees and bits of wood and broken furniture. And we piled it all up at the back of the estate. It was about 6 foot high, maybe a bit more. And they got a bit bigger. And we lit them. And we sat round them and we had a bit of fun. And as they started to die off, we put baked potatoes in tin foil and put them round the bottom. And it was a really nice way to spend the evening.
hmm
I wouldn't go near these ones now. But the thing that I believe made the difference, social media and phones. We didn't have phones. Nobody else, only the couple of dozen people around the fire saw it. But now the whole world sees it, and they've got to be bigger and bigger and bigger, and nastier, and more filled with hate. And that's to put out there to the world, look at us.
do you
Look
reckon
at,
it's for the
yeah,
world?
yeah, yeah, because it's on social media. It's been put out everywhere. It used to be just a wee thing that we did here and it was our culture, but now it's something different now. It's totally different.
I used to go to the 12th and see my grandparents in East Belfast, and I used to really enjoy it, like as a child. Wouldn't go near it now, and I can't remember.
My uncles used to walk at the front with their swords over their shoulders. And we went, and yes, we watched them in Belfast because I lived in North Belfast as a child. And no, I wouldn't go near them now. It's not cultural anymore. It's something else. It's really, I can't even put a word to it, but it's not something I would want to be at.
A lot of people would identify it with hate now, whereas
Yes.
I love the drums. Like I love it. I would have.
Well, here's another insight. As a teenager, I played a bass drum for one of the band.
Oh,
Yeah, I played the bass drum for the Daughters of William and Lurgan.
oh,
and was well known for it. And I loved the whole day out.
Yeah.
And as I got older, I had to sort of reassess that. And it's not now what we did then.
No.
It's not. We didn't do it for hate. We did it for the enjoyment of the day.
Yeah.
Uh,
I would go again if it was like that again.
yeah, absolutely. And the streets were lined, and there was everybody you knew was out there, and it was all a nice day. And we went off to the field and we lay about all day in the sunshine, I have to say, which doesn't seem to happen anymore either. And it was a different festival like feel to what it is now.
Oh, I've just remembered the woman. The woman this year. Did you see the woman who
I did. I did. I saw it.
I think she might be a witch.
Maybe, yeah, yeah, maybe.
There was something very powerful about that. That was a complete feral woman. That was a woman.
Yes, yes, that was a strong message. Yeah,
I actually just thought it was like I understand why people were outraged, but like it was pretty powerful what she did. Like that is strength to do that. Takes
absolutely.
a
And
lot
it
of
does
grace
take
with it.
strength and courage to become. A lot of people's authentic self is going to be seen by the status quo in society as crazy,
Yeah.
but it's not crazy. It's freedom.
Yes.
Freedom to do what? If they can walk about in silly sashes and suits and march up and down, can that woman not do it the way she did?
Well,
It's in the rules, you know. It's freedom. Freedom to be yourself.
yes. But you can see why they would have burnt us and
But
dunked
you can see why it's a threat to the status quo if people start being their authentic selves and each person being an individual. You can only control if everybody's thinking the same.
Mm-hmm.
So they have no control over the authentic people.
Mm-hmm.
And this is back to, this takes us back to our very first chat where we talked about autism and how I saw that as the evolution of the human mind, the freedom from control. You cannot control an autistic child. Because as I said to my son-in-law the other day, after his daughter gave him a total mouthful of what she thought of him, you can tell an autistic child because their most favorite three words are, I hate you.
Oh God.
I hate you. That's every night as soon as he comes through the door. Daddy, I hate you. But
Oh
she
my.
doesn't hate him. She hates the fact that he didn't do something that she wanted. It's that.
Oh, it's the
It's that
strength.
total.
It's the
It's a
strength,
strength.
the intensity
Yeah.
of the feeling.
The intensity of being authentic. The absolute intensity of being authentic and autonomous. If you don't do what I want, I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel. And right now, at this moment, I hate you because you did not do what I wanted you to do.
Oh my goodness, that's
So put that in their classroom setting and try and tell them, do this, do this, do this, do this. Like we were done. Sit in that seat and don't move and don't speak and just listen.
I can't remember feeling really like that as a child. More, I think to me, autism is you can't conform
Exactly.
or you don't understand. You don't
Which is an
understand.
evolution of the human mind. Why would you conform to all that bullshit?
Aye,
So you become your true, authentic self.
aye.
Think about that one, Leila.
Yeah, the for I don't know though. It's an alienating. It's I suppose it's quite an alienating thing because
Yeah.
there is strength in numbers, and I think one of the other things about it is identity. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people I work with and a lot of people I know when
Want
they want that identity, you know, and I suppose in
all.
where we're, you know, unionist, loyalist, Republican, nationalist, that identity plays out really, really strongly. Whereas whenever you're authentic and you're free,
Uh-huh.
you're not going to necessarily identify with those Those
I identify with the witches on the Pendle Hill. I identify with the women now who feel free to speak up, the ones that are speaking about misogyny, femicide, the ones that are speaking up about the environment. I identify with anyone who fights injustice. I prefer to identify with those things than I'm a unionist. And I'm a this and I'm a that, and I was born. They are all labels put on you. My labels are self-imposed. They didn't come from out there. I know who I am. I know what I am. I know my shadow side. I have integrated my shadow side, and it is now perfectly running, flowing with all my sides, because we all have many, many sides and many, many personalities. And in each arena that we walk into, we will bring out a different us. And it's being aware of who those different uses are and being happy with them all.
Well, Jung would have talked about the archetypes, and then in
Yeah,
in psychosynthesis they talk about sub-personalities, but the way
yeah,
to become your full self and or an actualized human being is to integrate them all. And
yeah,
that, I suppose, is the authenticity. It's like
yeah,
I feel like I often this people always are dealing with projections, so they will
yeah,
project.
yes,
So this is where when I'm working with clients, I'd say, look, you could, I can split the room. I could have 70% of the room, like do a talk on something. 70% of the room will agree and think it was fantastic, and 30% think I should be locked up and I'm crazy,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Nothing actually,
That's fine. That's absolutely wonderful. That's fine.
but
That's
that's
where
not
they
really
are.
anything to do with me. And that's where
Well,
we often internalize and we take on what other people projected us, but it's always a
yeah,
reflection of what they see in me is a reflection of them. It's in them. So
yeah.
that's why to do your authentic self, you've got to have that solitude. You've got to go
Mhm,
inward and be alone,
mhm.
and then you choose, you decide who you
Yes,
want to
who
be.
you are.
Yeah, not don't the world will.
What anybody says about me, I don't give a. I'm not going to use that word today, but I don't give an F about what anyone thinks about me. I walk out there in my full, solid, genuine self. If anyone speaks to me, they will get genuine. They will get the truth. They will not get me thinking, now, if I say that, they're going to think this of me. And if I say that, they're not going to like me. If you don't like me, you don't like me. I don't care.
Yeah.
If you like me, wonderful. We'll
Hmm.
get on. But there is no need to. I read a book many, many years ago, and it said every word that another person says to you, turn it around and make it about them, because that is the truth.
Hmm.
It's a projection. Everything they accuse you of is a projection. Everything they judge you of is a projection. It's their own fear.
Hmm.
If they were you, they would be filled with fear, because it does take courage.
It does, but
And you
also,
will lose people.
but the authenticity is also, being free and authentic to be imperfect.
Yes,
You know,
yes, absolutely.
to be grumpy, to be boring, to
Yeah,
be a bit of a
to
witch.
be tired, to be a bitch, to be whatever you want to be.
Yeah, some
But
days like the bitch is out big and strong in me. Like I am like not in the mood today. And I just think that's what
go
you have to do.
away, go away. But the other side of that is being willing to accept those flaws and imperfections in others,
Yes.
right? So I can't expect my friend to accept me in a grumpy mood if I tell her, I can't stick you when you're in a grumpy mood. Go away from me. I've got to fully accept their flaws as well as my own. But once you accept your own shadow side, you can accept the shadow sides of others.
Grace. I think you live with more
Really?
grace.
Yes. But
Yeah.
you've got to accept yourself and your flaws before you can accept anyone else and their flaws. So if someone is judging you, they have not accepted themselves and they are not their true, authentic self.
Yeah. And like being authentic doesn't mean being a horrible person and just going around.
No, and shining a bright light, it means being true to who you actually are,
Yes.
flaws and all.
Hmm.
and not going away, because if we disagreed on something and I said, you're just stupid and you're a nasty such and so, if I go away and then think, shit, I shouldn't have said that, and start feeling guilty all day and withdrawn, that's just damaging. But if I'm accepting myself and my shadow side, then no matter what you do will not affect me in that way. I will just accept it. That's what Lou believes. That's fine. That's what I believe. That's fine. Because we're all walking our own path. We're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to do U-turns. And that's life. Being authentic does not mean being perfect. It means being imperfect and being happy with it. That's my view of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And also sometimes, like I wrote, I think a few years ago, I wrote about authenticity versus popularity.
Yes.
Yeah, and how, you know, that's quite a big ask. That's quite an act of courage to stay authentic, and to give up. And that's why I don't think politicians can, well, successful ones anyway, I don't think they can be authentic.
No, they are not. They are just reading a script, basically. This is what we need them to believe, so let's talk about it.
Yeah.
This is how we get what we want. We have to convince them that this is the right way to do things. Doesn't mean the person saying it believes it or even knows what they're talking about. It's just what they've been told by their party to say. There's no authenticity in politics.
No.
Just manipulation.
Just performance. Charade.
Performance, manipulation, and charade. Yeah, absolutely. There's none of it real.
Yeah.
But that's 90% of what goes on outside in that big world is not real. Many people watch EastEnders, Coronation Street, Emmerdale, and then try to live their lives the way they see it on the TV.
Do people still watch those?
Yes. Yes, people still watch those and try to create the same drama and the same nonsense within their own lives and think that's life. You know, get real.
Like,
get real.
Do you know, that would be like torture if you're like, right, for a full week or two or month, right? Say, Louise, for a month you have to watch the soaps. You have to watch.
Yeah.
That would be like 1984 and the Rats to me. You know, I wouldn't like that. Whereas,
No.
see, yesterday I was out in a river banter and with Jim and Keith, and they were lovely.
I saw that. I was extremely envious.
Oh yeah, we'll go. Don't worry, we'll be back here coming next time, right? And he told me a story about how a heron, which I was just like, oh my God, talk about joy. Like I saw so many herons and I was like, whoa, that's amazing. Right? People love soaps.
Yep.
I see a heron and that's me happy as all day long.
Yeah.
But he told me a story about how a swan and a heron were friends at on the ban, right?
Yep.
That is beautiful. That is
Yeah.
so gorgeous. That's what I love. But most people, I don't think they care about that.
Well, you know, I have this really special memory in my mind that's been there for many, many years. And it was one of the most special moments in my life. I was in a friend's back garden. And we were building steps for her because I used to do stuff like that. And there was a little mouse and it stopped in front of me and it was looking straight at me. And I was talking to that mouse. And I'm convinced that mouse was listening. And that was a really special moment. And I still remember that mouse's face.
Oh, nature.
And I worked in a wildlife sanctuary and I hand fed a peregrine falcon. And I used to hold it right here in front of my face on a big glove. And I used to look that peregrine falcon straight in the eye and talk to it. And it was the same. They are magical moments. That's when I was absolutely my authentic self in touch with nature, when I was speaking to those animals. It was magic. It reminded me of going as a child and watching Dr. Dolittle because that film impressed me so much. And in those moments I was being Dr. Dolittle, I was talking to those animals and they were listening.
Oh my goodness, this is it. This is what life is about. That I get
That's
that. So
authenticity.
yeah, it's so exciting and it's wonderful. And like I've had butterflies on my finger. I've had like
Yeah.
such beautiful
Yeah.
experiences. I've just, and that's
There's a picture on Facebook this week of me with 2 butterflies on my hand at the butterfly house. And it was like, wow,
but that's witches.
that's life.
That's witches because they knew the healing powers of nature. They knew
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
connected with animals.
Yeah.
Like they were able, they took their power back and knew that we had everything we needed around us
Yes.
and within us.
And within us. Yes.
And that's, I
Life
think,
is within us. So my suggestion to every woman out there who wants to take their power back, go and sit in the middle of a forest on your own. Be silent. It will come back.
connect to your intuition.
Yeah. And your
Oh,
nature. Power of nature.
love it. Love it, Carol. I think we're going to finish with that. Kyla,
Yep.
still sitting here, and Kyla agrees. That was a lovely
Yes.
about authenticity, well, and witches. Oh,
Mm.
did we not talk about this in another one? There's a song called Witch, and it's woman in total control of herself.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Let's push that meaning.
woman in total control of herself. I don't know if I am in total control of myself all the time. Like, I don't.
No, no, no. You don't need to be in total control of yourself all the time, because if you're in total control of yourself all the time, you're not being real.
Well, I'm thinking more in terms of like admin and dealing with like accountants and
All
that's
that stuff not
oh
real. That was made up to keep us all busy,
HMRC.
so that we couldn't be real. We were too busy cleaning the house and doing our admin.
Dealing with HMRC and
Yeah,
the council. Oh no, no, I'm definitely not in total control of myself when I'm dealing with the council.
but that's because it's taking you outside of your true alignment with your authentic self.
Oh yeah, I do not
The
consent.
real self would never sign up for any of that crap.
No, oh God, bureaucracy and admin and accountants and
Control,
mortgage and fire. Oh no.
control.
Yes, so there you go.
Let's end
Less of my complaining about modern
there. Right.
society. But it was good to talk to you.
Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.